Okay, I just thought of another tip. Actually, this is a multi-tip tip. I've been whining about blisters on my feet. So I have had 2 giant blisters, pretty much the size of my pinky toe, on my pinky toe. So tip number 1, make sure your shoes are bigger than your normal size. And I thought that I did that. So I actually went a half size bigger. I should have went a full size bigger. Because the idea of what's been happening with me is as I'm going downhill, even though my shoes are really tight, my foot is bumping up against the ends. And even if it's not totally bumping up, when you walk out here for a while, more than 3 or 4 days, because it was like my 4th day I developed this blister, your feet apparently swell up a bit. So because my shoes weren't big enough, I kept rubbing against the end of my shoe. And even these shoes have a big section where the toes are, because a lot of shoes are tight up there, but I specifically got some that have a wider section. And many of the hiking shoes, they do that, and you'll see. And you definitely want that. If my shoes were bigger, sized right, then I would tie them. They would be tight across the top of my foot. Did you see that? See, I pointed right there, top of my foot. They would be tight across the top of your foot, but it wouldn't allow your toes to reach the end of your shoe. And say, I remember when I was a kid, you go to the shoe store and they get your shoe, and the guy touches and he puts your foot in the shoe and he touches and finds your toe, and it finds the toe to be right there at the end. He's like, oh yeah, that's a good fit. Well, that's not it. That's not how you're supposed to do it. All my life, I thought I was supposed to have a toe reach the end of my shoe. That's not how you do it, especially on a trail. So, make sure your shoes are bigger, and you won't get the massive toe blisters that I've gotten. Oh, I have 3 tips for you. I told you about a couple older ladies that have many, many years of experience. Well, one of them said, oh, what you got to do is you got to put some Leuco tape around your toes before you start hiking. And when I showed her that I had a wrap of Leuco tape, she was like, yes, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, young man. And then she's like, but why did you bring the whole roll? You didn't have to bring the whole roll. Why don't you just take it and wrap some around your pole? Because you're not going to need 50 feet of Leuco tape. Why did you bring 50 feet of Leuco tape? So that's the lady. But then the other lady took off her socks and showed that she had some, not cotton swabs, she had some like wool something or other type pad things, and she had those stuffed between her toes, at least her pinky toe and her next toe. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't know what those are called, she had a name for them, but she had those stuff between her toes. She was like, I have been doing this for 30 years and I have never had a blister. So I don't know if I'd want to stuff something between my toes, but she got used to it, and it works, and it works really well, and she says it's extremely comfortable. So, man, and now the other tip, I was talking to Thomas today from Scotland, and I asked him before he left, I'm like, okay, got a monster blister, I need your opinion. And he said, he finished my sentence, pop it or leave it? I'm like, yep, that's right, that's my question. He's like, you should pop it, but just make a tiny hole so that the skin stays there, so that the tender skin that's beneath the blister is not exposed. So just pop it to get rid of the fluids, and then it'll kind of seal up again. It'll start to heal. And then you put tape around it again so that it doesn't constantly rub. So don't just leave the blister all a big bubble, because that was adding more push. That was adding, my toe was reaching further out into my shoe, and so it was really not comfortable with that big blister there. So I popped it, and my toes, I feel them, I still feel them, but it feels much better than it has been for several days now. So I should have asked that question much earlier. So I popped it. It was gross. Feels much better now. Taped it up. All's good. So there's the lessons. Bigger shoes, tape the toes, or put some wool type gauze, whatever, that thing in between the toes, and pop the blister and tape it up. Boy, I'm so full of knowledge today.